I would like to thank you for giving me a great 9 years during my NBA career, and I will always be with you.
Yao Ming, born September 12, 1980. One of the greatest things about basketball, probably the greatest if you were to poll it, is how it connects people from all across the world, all different races, and even genders. Young, old, good or bad at the game, we all have some basketball story, from the playgrounds all the way to the professional level. Even in prison, you can find people connecting over one of the few sports allowed in that environment. With that in mind, remember that basketball and sports in general has become a huge business as the years went by, and will only continue to grow now that players from all over the world are starting to pay attention and catch up. With the NBA in particular wanting to grow and expand its reach internationally, international players have become very important to their brand's future. But one person specifically possessed a chance to be the biggest basketball player ever when you mix basketball connecting people and business together, and that was Yao Ming. What made him special was a few things. Obviously, we have to start with how talented he was, much of it having to do with his size as a human period, where not many people in general ever reach 7 foot 6 inches tall. When I say not many, literally only 2 NBA players have been taller than Yao Ming, and that's Manute Bol and George Muresan. That gave him the exact tools needed to stand out on any level when it came to a sport made for giants and where verticality mattered. Then, equally important was him being from the 3rd largest country in the world that happens to be one of the wealthiest and also the largest consumer-based market. It's common knowledge in the business world that once Chinese people believe in a product, they have no issue with supporting it fully. They produce a lot and they consume a lot as well. One thing they will always support is a person from their own country doing well and able to be an ambassador for them. That was Yao Ming, and that was his unique appeal. So, although Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Vince Carter, Shaquille O'Neal, and these guys were superstars in America, Yao Ming was good enough to be that, while over 1 billion people from his own country were behind him as well, buying into whatever he had going on. The NBA saw big business being funneled through Yao Ming, and it was in their best interest he was a star on their stage in order to make the NBA a star on his. And a star is literally what Yao Ming was since his first season in the NBA, becoming the first rookie all-star since Tim Duncan in '98. He was an all-star the next 6 years, missed a year due to injury, and came back for just 5 games his final season and was voted an all-star again in 2011. Solely because of his home country China using their fan vote to cast on their hometown hero. With the talent, unique size, charisma, and perfect timing, Yao Ming could have been the biggest basketball player ever if not for these reasons. What happened? Let's talk about it. Salute to Florida's _finest05 on IG for this request. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Yao Ming was a 7'6" center from Shanghai, China who was literally bred to play basketball. His mom was 6'3" and his father 6'7", both former professional players in their days. He was sort of a late bloomer, joining an organized league at 9 years old, but by 13 he was already trying out for professional teams locally. He would play with the Shanghai Sharks junior team until he was 17 years old, joining the senior team that year and having to sit out the next with a broken foot. Yao led the Sharks to the finals every year since then, eventually winning the CBA championship his 5th year with the team, averaging nearly 40 points and 20 rebounds. Yao was ready to be a star, not just in China, but globally. This meant a lot of money for anyone involved with Yao Ming, and China nor the CBA was about to give him up easy. Contracts from everywhere were coming into play, like Yao giving up 33% of his earnings to his Chinese agency, the Chinese government creating regulations requiring Yao to give up 50% of anything earned in America, to not letting him play in America if he wasn't drafted first overall. A deal was struck where the Rockets guaranteed his #1 pick, making him the first international player without American roots to be drafted first overall. Stunt number 1, not affecting winning. When you talk about an NBA player's potential, they're all different and it all depends on the reach they could have had individually. It also doesn't mean the player ended up having a bad career or didn't have highlighted points, because in the end, Yao Ming was still a Hall of Fame player. We'll talk more about what influenced that voting later, but his ceiling was the greatest of any player ever as far as his global reach, more in the business as a basketball player and potential on the court. In his case, those two almost went hand in hand. China as a country were going to support Yao Ming regardless because he meant so much to their country, but one reason Yao didn't reach his ultimate potential in the NBA was because he never got anywhere close to winning in the NBA. I couldn't imagine if Yao Ming led the Rockets to an NBA championship. He would have literally been the biggest superstar in the world. Multiple rings would have made his star that much bigger, as now he'd be mentioned as one of the greatest ever, and his country could use his achievements to invest more money into Yao, and who knows what borders the NBA and China open up because of one of their own becoming so successful in the league. But Yao just couldn't win. He missed the playoffs as a rookie, eliminated in the first a year after by Shaq and Kobe and the Lakers, then the Dallas Mavericks, missed the playoffs in 05-06, then lost to the Utah Jazz in back-to-back years in 07 and 08, and in 09 lost to the Lakers, Yao's final playoffs in the NBA. Just imagine a superstar in today's game never winning a title. If Yao was from anywhere else, he'd likely be criticized heavily, but because of the support his country gave him and the business opportunity for the NBA still through Yao Ming, he wasn't. But the losing didn't allow him to grow as big as he could. Stunt number 2, constantly injured. When Yao Ming first got to the NBA, things weren't easy. He didn't immediately translate. In fact, his first game, he scored 0 points, and it took him 7 games just to crack double figures in scoring. He was being clowned initially and seen as a letdown until he had his first 20-point game against the Lakers and began to catch a stride he'd ride for the next 5 to 6 seasons. His rookie year, he was named an All-Star, even though politics were involved, with the NBA allowing China and other countries to vote on the games, driving revenue with those voting sites and apps, and gaining more eyes from China watching the All-Star game, eager to see their countrymen. He improved every season since his rookie year and actually became very deserving of his All-Star selections and was playing a surprising amount of games for a guy his size, only missing 2 games in 3 seasons. But in 05-06, he sustained a big toe injury that required surgery, leading to him missing 21 games. He averaged 20 and 10 in 57 games that season, but toward the end of it, he broke a bone in his foot, and without he and Tracy McGrady, who was also injured, the Rockets missed the playoffs altogether. It took 6 months to rehab the foot injury, which led into the next season. December 23, 2006, he injures his right knee and misses the next 32 games, finishing playing 48 in 06-07. 07-08, more injuries. On February 8th, when Yao sustained a stress fracture in his left foot and was ruled out for the rest of the season again. In 08-09, the Rockets would make it to the second round to face the Lakers, and injury struck again. The same left foot, different stress fracture that took Yao out the 09 playoffs after Game 3 and caused him to miss the 09-10 season. In 2010, he sustained a stress fracture in his ankle, ruled out after 5 games, which would be his last in the NBA. Stunt number 3, early retirement. Unfortunately for Yao Ming, the Rockets and the NBA's plan to expand and dominate the Chinese basketball market using their newfound golden ticket, Yao, after 8 seasons, retired from professional basketball in 2011, just after his contract with the Rockets expired. In his speech, he attributed his retirement to sustaining too many injuries that his body just couldn't keep up any longer. He was selected to the Hall of Fame even though he never made it past the second round of the playoffs, never won a championship, and only played 8 seasons, but his contributions to the game and his importance to bridging the game between American basketball and the Chinese market was important enough that he was inducted in 2017. It caused some controversy, but I agree with it, as internationally, no international player still has been as important as Yao Ming to the NBA. He was a great player in his prime, great role model, great ambassador that endured all the running around both the NBA and China had him doing. He just couldn't continue because his body simply broke down. All in all, Yao Ming was great for the game. He was one of the few that could challenge Shaq in his prime and was the right player to take the NBA to new heights while becoming the biggest basketball player ever. Unfortunately, for these reasons, that never happened. Salute, much respect to Yao Ming. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.